Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. 36 years ago today, the Berlin Wall fell, changing the world overnight. On November the 9th, 1989, a barrier that had split Germany and divided Europe came crashing down, sparking the peaceful revolution and the collapse of the Iron Curtain. What followed was a democratic change, German reunification, and a new era for Europe. What made this historic event a reality, and how has it shaped current geopolitics? Well, to explore this, we're joined by Marcin Jarząbek, Adjunct History Professor at Jagiellonian University. Professor, welcome to TVP World. Thanks for taking the time.
Good evening and welcome.
So, talk us through the events that triggered the collapse of the Berlin Wall. What happened?
Immediately, so let us begin a month earlier, on October the 8th, when the mass demonstration in Leipzig took place. More than 150,000 people demonstrated peacefully, and GDR authorities prepared for the violent intervention. However, they didn't use the violence. They, due to negotiations with the protesters, they ceased to use the violence. Therefore, they kind of resigned of using the power. So it was the first element of this change of events that let people in the GDR know that they should not be afraid of the authorities anymore. So that's the kind of point where kind of lose of the fear is essential for the protesters. At the very night of November the 9th, the whole set of events was began by the press conference one of the communist leaders, Günther Schabowski, who, as a slip of a tongue, said that there is that German authorities would let people to cross the border with the Western Germany freely with no obstacles, and that this revolution comes into force immediately. So that was kind of a spin for the whole overnight revolution in Berlin.
Understood. But this, as you describe it, was the final result of a series of events that had been happening in the region and internationally. For example, the semi-free elections in Poland, where the government was overthrown, the changes that President Gorbachev brought into play, which started the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and other factors. How did those elements work?
You're right. So we should begin the story at least in 1980, when the Solidarity movement, the first free trade union in the Soviet bloc, was legally established. Then, at this chain of events, the Nobel Prize for Lech Wałęsa, the Solidarity leader, then Mikhail Gorbachev becoming the party leader in Soviet Union, and the beginning of perestroika. So the political thaw, and also the general process that led to that most of the communist regimes had to adapt some strategies, either to cope with the existing opposition or to try to find some way out from the crisis, from the economic crisis, from the political crisis. When speaking about the fall of the German, we have to mention that at that time already we have the first non-communist government in Poland since September. As you mentioned, the result of the semi-free election on June the 4th, 1989, is the Tadeusz Mazowiecki's government. We had the open border between Hungary and Austria since June, which was the way through to which many Eastern German citizens could escape to Western Germany already. So that's that's the surrounding. However, the Eastern Germany authorities, Eastern Germany, tried to keep their hardline politics as long as possible. So they were rather reluctant to any changes and negotiations. On the other hand, the opposition in the Eastern Germany, I mean the organized opposition, so the structures was rather weak, uncomparable to Poland or to Hungary.
So what happened after the wall came down? Here you have the two sides of Germany, the two halves of Germany. It's quite a challenge to integrate after all of those years of separation, both economically and politically and socially. How successful has Germany been in that integration process?
You're right. We have the revolutionary event, Revolutionary Night of 9th and 10th of November in Berlin. And then this atmosphere of situation that must lead to some democratic changes. So the free election in Eastern Germany took place in March. The first newly elected government decided to go on a fast track of unification with West Germany, right? So, and that was to a large degree the expectation of both sides. So people really didn't want to have this political border, even if since November it was just, it was much different than it used to be before. So since October the 3rd, we had 1990, we have united Germany. However, the unification of societies, of these two societies, obviously took much longer, and some people may argue that there is this division, especially not in the Berlin, where the Berlin Wall used to be, but in the province is still visible in the election results, in the unemployment rates, and other attitudes. So it is a long, often painful and still ongoing process, which, however, led to the fact that this new, as it said in German, new federal states got, at least in this initial years, strong financial support from the Western side, right? So in terms of the states integration, it was really a hard effort, partially successful, but in terms of mentality and in terms of prejudices and stereotypes, that's at least first decade was rather problematic and painful for both sides.
Right. Now, in the last couple of minutes that we have left, Professor, just so if you would be brief, please. How then did we move from reunification of Germany to the such rapid enlargement of the European Union? Talk us quickly, please, through that process.
You're right. So 1989, Europe is divided through Iron country. In 2004, we had most of Eastern European countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, joining EU. Then followed by others, 2007. It's actually, historians or political scientists may call it the kind of window of opportunities, right? So we had a really lacked for this collapse of Soviet Union 1991, for the general positive attitude towards EU enlargement and European integration, both in the US, the American government, but also in the capitals of the Western Europe and among societies in Eastern Europe, right? So that was the kind of time when it was possible. We see how much more difficult it is for the new countries trying to join EU right now, like Moldova, like Ukraine.
Right. How would you assess the situation as it currently stands when it comes to the European Union, as it is? And you mentioned Ukraine, Moldova, and so on. How easy is it going to be for those countries, who of course have much closer ties to the former Soviet Union than, say, Poland did? How do you see their accession chances to the European Union?
My competences about on that are rather limited, so I can profit. I basically we learned from the enlargement of the EU in 2004, 2007, that being part of this common market, common community of countries within EU gives a lot of profits and benefits, right? However, it is. I would really welcome both Ukraine, Moldova, and other European countries to be part of this European community. However, we know that this is not just a matter of wish, but also of international negotiations and taking into account Russian presence in the region and the ongoing war in Ukraine, which we hope all will be finished soon.
Certainly lots of challenges ahead, and we're watching carefully. Thank you, Professor, for sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Goodbye to you.
Bye-bye. And that brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away, though. Lots more coming up. Goodbye.